Now, still on the president, he has emphasized that the bailout secured from the International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF, will not be an instant panacea for the country's challenges. He believes it will nonetheless play a crucial role in restoring confidence and reopening opportunities that have been limited in recent years. During the national address on Sunday, the president acknowledged that the approval represents a positive step towards putting the country back on track.
Access to the IMF facility will not spell the immediate end of the difficulties we are in presently. But the fact that we've been able to negotiate such a deal sends a positive message to our trading partners, creditors, and investors. A positive message that will be underpinned by the discipline, hard work, and enterprise with which we execute the program. It should lead to the restoration of confidence and the reopening of avenues that have been closed to us this past year and a half. It should also lead to the resumption of many of the infrastructural projects that have stalled. Fellow Ghanaians, we got ourselves out of a pandemic in which there were no presidents on which to rely, and where even the experts admitted they had no clear-cut solutions. We did it by being resolute, being focused, and working very hard, and by accepting that we had to stick together. With a similar frame of mind and attitude, we shall overcome the economic difficulties as well, sooner rather than later. I have no doubts at all in my mind that we are on the right path, and we will soon start to see significant improvements in the economy and in the living standards of Ghanaians.
Now, away from that, Member of Parliament for the Anyaso Utum constituency, Dr. Dixon Adomako Kisi, has expressed optimism after government's $3 billion deal with the International Monetary Fund. He believes the country must strive to improve its key macroeconomic indicators, including its credit ratings, in order to boost investment and economic growth.
Well, first of all, let me start from the IMF, and let me say that we're very happy that finally something that we've been all pushing hard for has come to fruition. And the first tranche will be 600 million, and then another, and then another. So I think in this year alone, we're looking at about, I think, 2 tranches. And that is fantastic for the country in the sense that people are going to be more encouraged to do business in Ghana and to do business with Ghanaians. And for that matter, I think that more importantly, foreign direct investment into the country, we're going to see some, upward in terms of what's coming. Now, the other plus of having or being in bed with the IMF is the fact that your checks and balances are going to be improved. And what it means is that, the leeway, the freedom the country had in terms of its expenditures are going to be reduced. And I think that since October, we've had time to reflect on a lot of things. And I think that I'm, as of now, more interested in the reviews that are going to be done. If the reviews that are going to be done are going to, one, help us in terms of our governance and in terms of our revenue generation, and more importantly, in terms of reducing our expenditure, so that in local parlance, I think maybe the call might be changed. And I really think that looking at what we call a black swan effect, where there's a clusterismic effect which nobody can withstand, and in this case, I really think that to a large extent, some of the things that have happened after COVID under any other managerial team would have been impacted adversely. And I think this is a case where our government, unfortunately, was hoodwinked with COVID and, in addition, Russia. And just a few days ago, I met with a young man who has had to close down his 2 stores for printing. Because during the COVID era, there was no outdooring, no engagement, no funerals and things like that. And this is how COVID ravaged and devastated a lot of people in our country, both economically and also our health. So as it stands now, I think the temperature, the tempo in the country is different, and a lot of people are, as it is, more reflective, and will wait out and see how the first tranche would impact our business as a nation. And like I said, more importantly, I personally am waiting to see some of the clear reviews to some of our programs, and how that then reduces our burden in terms of debt, and then how that also improves on our revenue generation, and how we're going to create an enabling environment where small businesses, which is the engine of governance in terms of revenue mobilization, will have a wonderful place to grow and grow and grow. And let's celebrate our milestones. In Africa, one of our challenges truly is that we don't celebrate our milestones enough. And one thing we should be talking about, and hear me out, one thing all of us, both minority, majority, should be talking about are ways in which we can improve on our credit ratings, because right now we are in a ditch, and that is of a greater, graver importance. And I would hope that more editorial news will be given to how Ghana as a nation can now improve on our credit rating.
When quizzed on whether the agreement with the IMF should give way for Ken Ofori-Atta's removal from office, he rallied support behind the embattled finance minister, adding that the administration should collectivize its efforts in improving the economic outlook of the country and not place the entire burden of transformation on the finance ministry.
At this point in time, what I would want the country to know is that sometimes we put too much emphasis on one ministry. At this point in time, I think that I'm even more curious as in how much produce, through the agric ministry we're going to get, and then by that factor, how much we can export, which will then improve our financial situation, which is, as it is, gold exports and oil exports and all of these things. So let us as a nation double check our priorities. It's very important, and I prefer that the entire system is working so well that it will not be solely necessarily dependent on any finance minister, and that is the narrative I want to put out there. We want to hang one person all the time when there's an issue, but there are multiple factors, and in concluding, government runs based on cabinet, and it's not one person that makes that decision. Cabinet has to approve, cabinet has to decide. So really, we should be making demands on cabinet so that cabinet moving forward can make what is good for all of us, not necessarily the finance minister.
Now, if you just joined us, you're still watching our midday bulletin, Pan-African News Live here on Pan-African Television. Now, to some more stories, President Akufo Addo has commissioned the €85 million Elmina Fishing Port Rehabilitation and Expansion Project in the historic city of Elmina in the Commander Edinai-Gwafu-Abrim municipality of the Central Region. The construction of the biggest fishing harbor in the region, which was completed in 30 months, has a docking space and deep marine access to ensure the durability and sustainability of the harbor. Work on the project commenced in August 2020 with the objective to boost tourism and the salt industry, increase accessibility of the port, and extend its capacity to improve the fishing industry in Elmina and the Central Region.
The project created a significant number of jobs during the construction phase and would also create additional job opportunities, both direct and indirect, when operational. This fishing port project represents a significant milestone and adds to the existing 2 fishing ports of Tema and the Sekendi Takrady. Government remains resolute and will continue to pursue programs and initiatives that support the growth of the fishing industry. As we commission the project today, I urge all of you to take keen interest in and address collectively the challenge of illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing and other unhealthy fishing practices that have the potential to deplete our fish stock. These illegal practices have resulted in and may continue to lead to a significant loss of potential income for coastal communities. We must work together to safeguard our fish stocks, promote sustainable practices, and address the socioeconomic needs of the fishing communities.
The president thanked the people of Elmina for keeping faith with government over the construction of the project and not listening to people he refers to as naysayers.
I thank the people of Elmina for trusting the Akufo Addo government to deliver this project, whose sword I cut on 20th August 2020. And I thank you for not listening to the naysayers. I remember that after the sword cutting, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, came to Elmina 4 months later in December and described the fishing harbor as, quote, a Sakawa fishing harbor, unquote. He was emphatic in his statements that the construction of the Elmina harbor would never materialize. It is just as well that he is not God. And I'm equally happy that he, together with all the other naysayers, are alive today to see President Akufo Addo commissioning the Elmina Fishing Port.
All right, there's still more to come after this short breather. To stay.
Trasacco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasacco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasacco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call
Hello, what are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle, health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those socio-economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And personality profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma Pratt. Still, the only TV show with a hat.
In previous seasons, he saw this.
You are not allowed to hawk or preach in commercial vehicles.
The perception in Ghana is abortion is illegal, and we don't follow up with the exceptions.
The existence of the customary marriage is no prerequisite
for the
ordinance marriage.
Yes.
And now, Are you ready for this?
Some people express the fact that they don't go on leave with pride.
Accumulated leave, like they term it, is illegal.
Because in Ghana we don't have enough lawyers, and the accused can apply for bail where he has no lawyer.
Knowing full well that you have an STI and you do not reveal that to the person and you have this sexual contact with the person, it is also part of domestic violence. Join the Law Express panel for relevant, informative, and educative topics.
It is clear that if the court grants bail, it is the registrar of the court that has the power to deal with execution of the bail.
All matrimonial properties that are sold without the consent of the other party are actually null and void.
Welcome back from that short breather. It's still our midday bulletin, Pan-African News, live here on Pan-African Television. Now, on to a very, very important issue. A group calling itself My Period Matters is threatening to demonstrate against government if it fails to remove the 20% tax imposed on the importation of sanitary towels. Speaking to Pan-African News, leader of the group, Nelson Richardson Mandela, stressed that the 20% tax imposed on sanitary pads has increased the price of the product. This, he said, is affecting some women both in the urban and rural areas.
We want women, especially and men, to come out for us to support government. I'm sure you all know that government also support the Agenda 2030, that is in achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal. In that goals, we have 17 goals. Goal 3, Goal 4, Goal 5, Goal 6 talks about inclusivity and equity. And if you are charging sanitary pad taxes on pad, huge sums of figures on sanitary pad, I'm not sure that we are ready to achieve. So we are just trying to help government so that together as a country we can achieve that. So we are hitting the streets tomorrow in a peaceful protest. This is not a political demonstration. We have our 30 CSOs organizing this. We are calling on, if you have a mother, if you have a wife, if you have a sister, a girl child, join us as we advocate for our women to ease the burden on them. Government currently classify taxes as miscellaneous manufactured products, and it's not anybody's fault to be a woman. So we expect that government should listen to what even Dr. Baumia in 2020 at Cape Coast, when they come to the wind power again, they remove taxes on parts, because I'm sure the wife might have complained to him that this is not good. We are calling on even the first lady and the second lady and opposition leaders, or everybody should join us tomorrow so that we can achieve this, because our women, people in the even in Accra, are finding it difficult to talk less of people in the villages. Where I usually go to work as a civil society organization, a place like Adan is a Kofi East or a Kofi district. When you go, you take 10 girls, 6 of them find it difficult to afford sanitary pad.
Right, we've been joined via phone by Nelson Richardson Mandela. He is the leader of the group My Period Matters. Good afternoon, Nelson, if you can hear me.
Good afternoon, and your listeners.
Right, many thanks for joining us. Your group, your outfit, you are planning a demonstration against the 20% imposition of luxury tax on sanitary towels. What is the motivation for this particular decision?
Yeah, so we as organizations working to promote the rights of women and girls, we believe that since our nation, Ghana, is very supportive of the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal Agenda 2030, we believe that everything should be equal and inclusive. And we can achieve that when women are being charged whooping percent of tax on something that they have no knowledge about. I'm not sure you interview me, your mom or your sister, if they ask her to choose between being menstruate or not, she will choose that. So our message is simple. We are just trying to help government also to achieve the Agenda 2030. And by helping us to reclassify the sanitary pad tax being a luxury good and to make it a health necessity so that tax can be free.
Right. I understand the demonstration is set to come off tomorrow. Is the police aware of your intentions?
In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm speaking to you from the Regional Police Command. We just finished a fruitful meeting with the Regional Police Command, and the police has fully given us the assurance that tomorrow they will join us to make this peaceful protest a reality.
Right. Who exactly are you targeting? Are you going to march to the presidency, perhaps to Parliament? Parliament has not even reconvened yet. But I mean, by the way.
Okay, so the agreed route for the march is from the Children's Park. We'll walk through all the way in front of the Parliament House, and that is where we'll be joined by the Ministry of Gender, Finance, and present the letter to the Speaker's office based on the petition that we have. So that is what it entails. We are expecting every other person, including the first and second lady, to participate. Because this is not about NDC, MPP, CPP, GCPP. This is about our women. And I believe everybody is born of a woman. So it's good we all join hands and make this a reality.
Well, personally, this isn't the first time I'm hearing this particular conversation about the imposition of tax on sanitary towels. How has it been received so far? And again, I want to find out from you if you are making any headway in this regard.
Yeah, so already there has been media engagement. There have been engagement with youth, various groups, and even with market women and every other person that we are working with as well. So, and we are happy because we believed it was the second lady who prompted the vice president in 2020 to maybe inform him about the high cost of pads. That is why he promised in their second term they will reduce and take off the sanitary pad tax. So we have high hopes that the first and second lady will be our next point of call, and we know that they will speak to the president and the vice, and for this to become a reality. And we are calling on all other stakeholders. You don't have to be a CSO, you don't have to be, all you have to be is a human being who believes that women's rights must be protected. Let's join hands together and make sure this becomes a reality.
Well, Nelson, I don't know if you are aware, but the newly appointed Chief Justice was asked a question pertaining to this particular subject matter on whether or not women should bear the brunt of the taxes that have been imposed on sanitary towels. Her response was that the working class, women belonging to the working class, should pay, while persons who live in the rural areas should be exempted from these taxes. What do you make of these comments?
Yeah, so we disagree with the Chief Justice because no girl child themselves don't buy pads for themselves. It's their working class mothers, they are the ones who buy the pads. So if you are saying that you make it, you take, so how will you know that this pad is for the school girl, so tax will be taken off? How will you also know that this one is a working class? So we disagree with the Chief Justice. We believe that the right thing to be done is it should be taken off. The tax should be taken off because it's the working class mothers that buy the pads for the girls. The girls themselves don't go. When we start that way, that the girls themselves are buying, that we are pushing them to men, and it will result in teenage pregnancy. So we believe that the Chief Justice, after that statement, I'm sure she will go back also as well. Or we can also engage. That is why we are here. Also, that we can engage her also as well. Maybe to let them know the realities on the ground, and maybe some of the things that are being affected and how it works also as well. And then we believe that with consensus, we believe that we can all achieve this goal. But we also like the fact that she knows that there's a tax somewhere and that must be removed. So we believe that the conversation just started. We will continue till we get to the final destination. And we can assure that we have high hopes and as we all try to have a better Ghana for our women as well.
Right. Finally, before you go, I'd want to find out from you, are you partnering with any other organizations, any other entities, are any other people on board with regards to this particular agenda?
Okay, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm standing right with the national coordinator of the CSO platform of SDGs. We just finished a meeting, like I said, with the police. We have Sengan on board, we have CDD on board, we have NUSAC, we have all organizations that champion the issues about girls and women. We have them on board. We have about 30 organizations signing this petition, and these are not organizations that are just there on paper. They are organizations that are on the grounds to make sure this becomes a reality. So that we have a lot of people on board as well, and as you are also interviewing us because you believe in whatever that we are doing as a media house. That is why you're also on board. So we believe that collectively we can achieve this goal. This is not anything about individual organizations. It's about Ghana. It's about Ghanaian women and the Ghanaian girls.
Right. Thank you very much. Nelson Richardson Mandela is the group leader for My Period Matters. They are championing, or they are calling on government to, as a matter of urgency, remove the 20% luxury tax that has been imposed on sanitary towels in order to make it affordable. Now, away from that, as part of an aggressive national afforestation and reforestation program to restore the lost forest cover of Ghana and to contribute to the global effort to mitigate climate change, the Bono region is given a target of 600,000 trees to be planted in this year's Green Ghana project. The Green Ghana project was launched in 2021 by President Akufo Addo, with its maiden edition seeing an estimated 7 million tree seedlings planted across the nation.
The Bono Regional Manager of the Forestry Commission, Augustine Jedu, disclosed that the region is expected to plant 600,000 trees, with about 350,000 seedlings to be planted in the various forests in the region. According to him, about 240,000 trees will be distributed to the various municipalities and district assemblies in the region. Mr. Augustine Jedu also stressed that despite several challenges such as cattle grazing, bad weather conditions, bushfires among others, the region was able to achieve 80% contribution of tree planting last year. He urged all corporate institutions, traditional councils, as well as other stakeholders to take part in this year's exercise to help restore the depleted forest cover.
Moving forward this year, 2023, the theme is our forest, our health. Our forest, our health, which means that forest contributes greatly towards our health, towards survival of mankind. Therefore, it behoves upon us to plant more trees so that we can have a very healthy environment to live. Our target for the year is 10 million. We here in Bono region, been given a target of 600,000. 600,000 we shared across the two forest districts. Sunyan district is taking over 250,000, Doma district, forest district taking 250,000, the regional office here in Sunyame, we are taking 100,000, altogether 600,000. And the ceilings are ready, as you can see, they are ready for distribution. So we are going to send 60% of these ceilings to our forest reserves. We want to restore the degraded forest areas. So we're going to send 60% of them there, and the rest will distribute to the municipal assemblies, to individuals, farmers who want to embark on tree planting. So that's what we're going to do this year. We take this opportunity to inform the general public, and institutions, the military, and everybody to get on board to make this year's program a very successful one. The ceilings are free of charge. We don't sell. If you come, we give them to you free of charge. Only concern is that as you take them and you plant them, nurture them. Don't just plant them and abandon them, nurture them. Protect them from development, and you get over 70% survival rate. We count it as a very successful program. So last year, you can say that was very successful because we recorded, here in Bono, we recorded over 80% of the tree planted as having survived. Yes. What caused the few that did not survive? the weather system played a key role, because if we plant and it doesn't rain, we depend upon rain-fed agriculture. If it doesn't rain, some of them will die. Apart from that, we have other programs like cattle grazing, animal grazing, especially those who planted in communities and along roads, and even in our forest reserves as well. We have cattle grazing in our forest reserves. If you go to Tentu now, lots of cattle are there. We are battling with them. They graze over them and they kill some of them. Wildfires, bushfires also contributed to the casualties we recorded.
The Buda Regional Manager of the Forestry Commission also called on government agencies as well as financial institutions, both public and private in the region, to adopt part of the planting activities.
Also to appeal to corporate institutions, banking institutions, corporate bodies, GMPC and all of you, that they should come and adopt part of our planting activities. If you want to adopt a compartment, it's a 128 hectares. That's the standard compartment, the size of it. Yes, we have standard rate for a compartment. So anybody who wants to adopt a compartment, we encourage you to come and adopt one. If you do, and we will pay the money involved to Forestry Commission, and we will use that one to establish the plantation for you. And after it has been established, your company or your institution's logo will be labeled against that compartment, as if you planted them, because you financed their planting. And that is going to give you positive morale to other people. That is going to give you positive side to the international community, because you're also helping mitigate the effect of climate change. You're also helping the effort of global community solving the problem of climate change. The other benefits, when the trees mature, carbon trading and the rest, you stand the chance of gaining from them. So we encourage as many institutions as can do. If you cannot plant a whole compartment within 1 year, and you can decide to plant them within 2 years, yes, we will allow you to plant half this year, and then the remaining half we plant in next year. So every institution to get on board, and let us all go planting to save our environment, restore a degraded environment, and then have a better hive, better forest for better health. Thank you very much.
The Green Ghana Day was introduced in 20.
Now, away from that, children below the ages of 9 and 13 at Kokrobite in the Botiano English Amanfro constituency of the Greater Accra region are unable to access basic education due to what some parents described as financial constraints. According to them, the harsh economic conditions of the country is hugely affecting their means of financing the education needs of their wards.
It is 11 a.m., early school hours here at Kokrobite Zongo. Scores of children here barely visit the classroom to study, as many other children have access to education in the cities. In contrast to learning in class, a regular activity in the lives of these children is to play and loiter around neighborhoods and landfills. Some parents and guardians who spoke to Pan-African News say the cost of education lately is depriving them of financing the tuition of their wards. Meet Dede, a tailor and single mother, who tells me how she struggles to make money from her tailoring business. According to her, things have become very difficult as the cost of education has surged in previous months.
We do not have a stable job here. The only source of income for many is our fishing business, but it is not profitable anymore. The struggle to make ends meet is a reason why we do not have our wards in school. The only public school in the community is very far from home. The prices of goods and services is headache to many parents here. We need good jobs to better our living conditions.
Mocho, a mother of two, also expressed her frustration about her inability to fund her children's education and wish they could be in classroom with other children soon.
Our children do not go to school. We are appealing to government for a swift action that will rescue the future of our children. Most children here loiter around neighborhoods and dump sites, which puts their health at risk. We urgently need help.
While Ghana has since made significant strides over the years to promote access to education for many children, there still remain 1 million children out of school, approximately 9% of children aged 4 to 16, until parents and guardians of these children meet adequate resources to finance their children's education. The future of these young ones still remain in jeopardy. Stanley Koblako for Pan-African News.
Well, it's a wrap for our local stories, but do stand by for some business updates. Now, in business, the government's heavy borrowing on the treasury market triggered another marginal undersubscription of treasury bills sales by about 7.21% as interest rates continued to surge. This is the third week running that the government has failed to meet its T-bills target because of the heavy borrowing on the financial markets. The government was looking to rope in 3.43 billion cedis, but got about 3.18 billion cedis.
According to the auction results, it received bids of about 2.3 billion Ghana cedis from investors for the 91-day T-bill, which is accepted about 99% of the bids. It also accepted about 99% of the bids tendered from the 182-day T-bill. A little above 874 million Ghana cedis was tendered for that financial instrument. For the 364-day T-bill, the government accepted all the bids worth 274.45 million Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, interest rates continue to surge along the yield curve. The yield on the 91-day T-bill went up by 0.23% to 0.79%, whilst that of the 182-day T-bill increased to 23.62% from 23.35% the previous week. The 364-day T-bill also went for 28.0%.
Now to some more business news, the Bank of Ghana will commence a monetary easing cycle in the fourth quarter of 2023, cutting the policy rate by 200 basic points to 27.50% by end of 2023. According to Fitch Solutions, this will be influenced by inflation, which will continue to moderate over the coming months.
Fitch Solutions expects the Bank of Ghana will commence a monetary easing cycle in quarter 4-3, cutting the policy rate by 200 basis points to 27.50% by end 2023. Consumer price growth will continue to moderate through second half of 2023 due to a stable exchange rate and high base effects, likely falling below the central bank's end 2023 inflation target of 29.0% around September to October 2023. A further fall in the policy rate will push lending rates down. Despite the International Monetary Fund having stated the Bank of Ghana would continue tightening monetary policy under the Standard Credit Facility, central bank policymakers kept the benchmark interest rate on hold at 29.50% at the May 2023 Monetary Policy Committee meeting. This, Fitch Solutions says, suggests that the Bank of Ghana's tightening cycle, it has raised the policy rate by 1,500 basic points since late 2021, has come to an end. Bank of Ghana to keep policy rate on hold in July 2023. It further stated that the Bank of Ghana will keep the policy rate on hold at its next Monetary Policy Committee meeting in July. It explained that consumer price growth, which has been on disinflation path since January 2023, will continue to moderate over the coming months, allowing policymakers to refrain from hiking. Additionally, Fitch Solutions said a pause in monetary financing of the fiscal deficit will lower price pressures in the months ahead. It pointed out that the Bank of Ghana has helped plug the wide budget shortfall as the government faced limited financing options after losing access to the international capital market in late 2021. This has led to a sharp increase in liquidity, with broad money supply having risen to $13.8 billion in April 2023, a 53.9% increase compared to a year earlier. However, the government and Bank of Ghana signed a memorandum of understanding in early May 2023 to ease central bank lending to the government, which will lead to reduction in liquid assets and help lower inflationary pressures in the coming months.
Well, that's all we have for our business stories. Now, to some international news, Turkey's incumbent president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has secured another term in office after being declared the winner of a round-of election held on Sunday, May 28th. There's more.
With 99.85% of ballots counted according to an unofficial tally by the Stage 1 news organization Anadolu Agency, the leader of the ruling Justice and Development Party received 52.16% of votes against his opponent Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu from the Republican People's Party-led Nation Alliance, who received 47.84%. Erdogan's victory was declared by the head of Turkey's Supreme Election Council on Sunday. The runoff was triggered after no candidate was able to secure 50+1 of the votes of the first round of elections held on May 14. Erdogan, who has been in power for 20 years, had won 49.52% of the votes, with Kemal coming in second with a vote share of 44.88%, followed by Sinan Ogan, a candidate from the far-right ATA alliance. The May 14 elections also saw the ruling AKP and its allies secure 322 seats in the 600-seat parliament. Meanwhile, the opposition alliance won 213 seats, with the CHP securing a share of 169. The elections were held at a time when Turkey has been facing a severe cost of living crisis, with inflation standing at 50.5%. In March, having soared to over 85% in October 2022, the Turkish lira lost 30% of its value against the US dollar in 2022, having already depreciated by 44% in 2021. The economic crisis had been years in the making, leading to mass mobilizations by trade unions to demand a living wage. The Erdogan administration had also faced criticism for failing to adequately respond to the devastating earthquakes that killed over 50,000 people in Turkey and neighboring Syria in February. Another key issue during the campaign period was that of immigration, particularly a growing right-wing nationalist rhetoric, which saw the opposition call for the expulsion of refugees and migrants, while the government doubled down on its policy of voluntary repatriation of Syrian refugees. The rights of other marginalized communities have also been under threat, including LGBTQ+ peoples and women, especially in the aftermath of Turkey's withdrawal from the Istanbul Convention on the Prevention of Violence Against Women, at a time when religious conservatism and gendered violence have been on the rise under the current administration. Erdogan has been repeatedly accused of implementing authoritarian policies and for the targeted persecution of progressive opposition forces and arrest of journalists and activists, especially ahead of the May election. Meanwhile, political power has been decisively consolidated in Erdogan's favor following the 2017 constitutional referendum, which placed Turkey under a presidential system of governance. Kemal had pledged a return to the parliamentary system as part of his platform, denouncing Erdogan's one-man rule. The opposition contender had also proposed changes in Turkey's foreign policy informed by a pro-West approach. Responding to Sunday's election, the Communist Party of Turkey said that the outcome did not offer hope for a brighter future and denounced that the right to strike had been taken away and the means of organizing have been usurped. The party also denounced the government's oppression of the poor and working class and attacks on the values of the republic. The TKP has been vocal in its criticism of not only the administration but of the failure of the opposition to offer a meaningful alternative to the people. Emphasizing that the struggles of the people could not be squeezed into the ballot box, the TKP called on working people to organize for secularism, independence and socialism.
Well, many thanks to the People's Dispatch for our international updates. Now to some sports news. Ghana and Leicester City defender Daniel Amati suffered relegation with his side despite their 2-1 win over West Ham United on Sunday afternoon. Leicester City's 9-year stay in the Premier League came to an end as they were relegated in agonizing